Elizabeth, hi, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some video feedback help with this character, and I'm noting that you don't have any adjustment layers that are clipping masks and also not a saved and renamed channel, so you need to accomplish that for credit. I sent that out in an email, and it's also in the instructor comments. So let me give you some help with this. So first of all, let me zoom back out a little bit. And if I scroll down to your background, I see that you have you meshed them together here with the carpet, which is fine. So let me see if I can do with this. Okay, I'm just going to drag. Actually, it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to merge the background together. I'm going to merge these two together by selecting the top carpet layer and hitting Control or Command E. That will merge that into one layer. Okay. If I control click on that thumbnail, I see that it's a little larger than the document, but I want to straighten out the horizon here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Control T and then hit Control 0. Okay, and this way it fits the whole thing in the window. And then I'm going to curve it slightly until that horizon it matches up. Okay, with it being horizontal. Then to fill in this gap here, I'll click on the top corner bounding box, click start dragging out. As I'm dragging, I'm hitting Shift and Alt to constrain it and scale it out from the center point, just slightly, so it fills the whole area. Okay, and then I'll hit Enter, and then deselect. So now if I hit Control 0, I see that this is more perpendicular. It's more the horizon is straight as opposed to curved. Okay, so now what we'll do is where this seam is, let me just alt click on the visibility icon to hide all layers except that. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that for now because you have a lot of hidden layers and I don't want to mess around with trying to hide and show layers again. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to go to the lasso tool. I'm going to click and start dragging just above that seam. Hold down my Alt or Option key, and then that gives it the polygon lasso tool. I'm going to click, 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 and let go. All right, so I have a selection around that area. Then I'm going to hit Shift F5. All right, I'm going to fill that with the content aware feature that will meld this together, I believe. Okay, it should. And then I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so it didn't work as well as I'd like, so I'm going to undo that. And what we need to do is get a little closer. So I'm going to go click in here, hold down the Alt key, click, 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 click. What it does is it picks up surrounding pixels, so I want to stay away from that chest. So I got a little closer to that. Then I'll hit Shift F5, hit Enter, and that seemed to work better. If I deselect, it's not perfect at all, but as a matter of fact, the original texture is not good. That's why. That's why. Well, there's another way we can do this, but that's going to take too long to explain. Straighten that out for now. Alright, so let me see here. Yeah, I didn't realize that this carpet here, this is a lot different than this, so it won't meld together nicely. So that's going to take some doing here. So, but I want to get on to more to other things here. I want to scale Todd down a little bit. Okay, he's taking up too much area. It's supposed to be within a 6x8 area. All right, so I'm going to click above the background and scroll up to layer 3, which is underneath the text. Okay, and then so shift clicking on that, I want to select all these layers except the text and hit Control T. All right, and then hit Control 0 so the bounding box fits in the window. And then I'm going to click and start dragging inward. As I'm dragging, I'm holding that Shift and Alt. Shift constrains it, Alt scales it into the center point. I'm going to scale it to about something like that. And then I'm letting go with my cursor first and then letting go of the Shift and Alt or Option key, and then hit Enter. Okay. So now, good job, by the way, with the white layer on top. Now I will just drag Todd down a little bit. Okay. So I want him down here because I'm going to put text up here. All right. So you have this text here. It doesn't look good. It just doesn't meld into the background. It's just there. You know, you fit it into a blank area. So I'm going to show you how we can fix that. So first of all, with Todd, what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to hide that layer. I'm going to select Todd, and I'm going to hit Control T and scale it up a lot. I don't even care if I distort it. All right. Then I'm going to center it, move it over. All right. I'll hit Enter, and then I'm going to go to Edit, Transform. Oh, I can't do that. Then I'll hit Control T again, then hold down my Control or Command key, and click and start pulling out. That's not working. Why not? Why not? All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make this art. Okay, so right now it's a text layer. So if I right-click on the layer, let me first hit Enter, right-click on the layer, and I'm going to select Rasterize Type. All right, so it's no longer an editable font. Then what I'll do is go to Edit, Transform, Perspective. Okay, if I pull the top one in and the bottom one out, we'll get the illusion that it's in perspective on the floor. And I'll bring it somewhere down here. Hit Enter. All right, and then I'm going to bring that text layer down. I'm going to change the stacking order. I'll bring it down until it's above. I want it above the carpet. Okay, so now what I can do is I can, let's see, I'm going to Control or Command click on that thumbnail. All right, for the Todd layer. That puts a selection around all of the text. I'm then going to hide that layer, select the background with that selection active and the background layer active. I'm going to hit Control or Command J. That copies what's in that selection to the layer above, so it copies all of that carpet to the layer above. Then I'm going to apply layer style to it. So if you double click on this layer, it brings up the layer style dialog box, and you may want to bring it to the side. And I'll check Bevel and Emboss, and you may want to, you can start to see a change here. What I want you to do is experiment with this. Okay, select inner bevel, outer bevel, pillow emboss, you know, a variety of things to see if you can make changes to this. You can also perhaps make it a color overlay to make it a little different. So let's see if I can change the color. If I click on this, I can maybe make it a little bit of a darker color, a brighter color. You know, you're gonna have to experiment around with that. Hit OK, and it didn't really change that much, but you can also experiment with the blending modes. You know, if you hit the down arrow key, you'll go through and experiment with different blending modes. So there's a lot to this. So let's just say you wanted that orange. You could also decrease the opacity so it doesn't stand out so much. All right, and then I'll hit OK. All right, so notice how the shadow's on top. And where is that shadow here? The shadow is right here. So all shadows need to be in multiply mode. Okay, so make note of that. So if I click on the drop-down menu for the shadow, I'm going to select multiply. All right, it won't make too much of a visual difference, but believe me, it's now a true shadow. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll go up to this text that I created with the same font. All right, and I will, let me see here. Actually, I'm going to select this text and hit Control X. I'm gonna cut it. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to my text tool and just click anywhere else again, and then just paste it again. So I have terrible and toys on two separate layers. Okay, so I'll take terrible. I'll hit Control T, and I'll scale it up so it fits the width. All right, I'll hit Enter, and I'll essentially do the same procedure I went through, but you can basically do anything you want with this. So let's go terrible and then toys. Let's see, toys. I don't know where I'm going to fit this. Maybe on the box. You know, it won't be seen as much, but I'm going to work with making this look like it's on the toy box. So I'm going to make it large. Hit Enter. I'm also going to rasterize this text once I'm happy with it. So now I'll hit Control T, and I can click. If I can control click to drag this in. The perspective won't work as much for this because it's a different perspective. So if you Control click and drag on the outer parts, you can pull that down. All right. So there we have toys and terrible. So I'm going to now select toys and terrible, and I'm going to drag that down to the bottom underneath. It's kind of hard to get that to fit there. So that is behind everything now. All right, so yes, you can't really read toys, but that's okay. So now what I'll do is I can do the same procedure with toys. Okay, so the background, so I'm going to Control click on toys to make that a selection, hide the selection, go to the background and hit Control J, and then create a layer style for that. Okay, I can also copy this layer style here by holding down the Alt or Option key and dragging that layer style down to that new layer. See how that is? So that layer style is now copied and duplicated to this layer, and it looks pretty good. But you can also change the color. So if I can go back in by double clicking on the FX icon, and now go to the color overlay, select that name, and I can change this color to just be something different. You know, let's see. I'll choose a red and see how that works. All right. If I drag this to the side, I can see the result. I may want to bring this up a little brighter. Okay. So we got that, and now you can do the same thing with terrible. Okay. So what you need to do is work with. I want terrible to be behind him. So drag this out, maximize it, all right, even if it's down. Well, you can't go behind the chest because that's on the bottom layer. But something like this would work fine, okay? So what you need to do is create adjustment layers, okay, that are clipped. So if I select this, if I control, as long as this is selected with the move tool, if I click on this, it'll go right to that layer, all right? So I'm going to select that layer, create an adjustment layer for, let's try levels. Okay, so here's the levels adjustment layer. You can drag in this outside icon. Now notice what's happening. It's lightening up everything, right? So what you need to do is make a clipping mask out of it so that it attaches only to the head. So that means Alt or Option clicking in between the layers and attaching it. Notice this indent arrow. Now if you go in and now make a change, you'll see that it only changes that. So you want to give this a little more contrast. Actually, this is really not the best to I really don't. I want to get this really, so I want to get this more dramatic, okay? So perhaps so I have the levels. If I now select the layer again, and let's try a brightness contrast. All right, so contrast might help make it more dramatic. Okay, yeah, that helped a lot. Okay, all right, so I would do the same thing for the body. Select that. Let's try a levels adjustment layer for that, because that looks a little gray. Actually, that's oh, I forgot to make a clipping mask, so that's the first thing you should do. Double click on this, and now, yeah, this you want this a little more vibrant. It's a toy, okay? So I would do that to all of the armature layers and everything. And you may also want to do this. All right, so let me just hide this temporarily. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to kind of integrate the text here with this. So if I select the layer mask, I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool, make sure it's at 100% hardness, zoom in, and now mask out part of the saw to reveal the text underneath. Whoops, I'm at 100% opacity. See what I mean? So now it looks like it's cutting into the E rather. All right, and it integrates it. All right, I'm going to stop here. I've gone on way too long. I hope that helped. Don't forget also to save a selection and rename it. It'll show up here as a channel. I'll put instructions in there. Okay, and take care. Bye.